good evening, and welcome to Tea Time.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It is Monday night. It is June 19th. I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and then get to my guests. Friday, we did Murdered by the Mob in Bayside, Queens, my hometown. We got a pic of my mother dancing with Vito, a.k.a. Ralph Bracco. And look at her face. I mean, the woman had a blast. We had so much fun. And the next pic is her and her cousin. She's 85, he's 87, and he's dancing with my cousin, his daughter, Diane. They had a blast. Another picture is some of the cast. There I am in the gray wig, Donna Rosella. And the last pic is me and Bob, who plays the councilman. And I'm holding a picture of my husband, my late husband, who got whacked, but you can only see his eyes. And then Saturday night, I stayed home and I rested because Friday night was a very late night, early Saturday morning. And then yesterday was Father's Day. So happy Father's Day. I hope everyone, there's me and my dad, Salvatore Canestresi. He's in Florida, but he's actually coming up a week from today. So I can't wait to see him and give him a hug. And God bless, my dad is 88 and looks great, right? I also want to say before I get to my guest that it is Juneteenth. It is a holiday. So I just want to put that out there for everyone celebrating, and some people had off, some people had to go to work. Also, it is the 30th anniversary of A Bronx Tale. And I have a pic of that with my friend Joe D'Onofrio and Catherine Narducci, and there's Chaz, and there's Bobby De Niro. And how crazy is that it's 30 years already, like in a blink of an eye. But I'm just so happy that Joe was there and he got to hang out with everybody. And I just want to say, I was supposed to have Peter Anderson on tonight, and unfortunately he had car issues. Peter is a musician who played with Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and it will be back. We're going to reschedule him, but I'm just so blessed and happy that Jerry Ferretti is here. He's an actor, producer, director, writer, singer. The man does it all. And we were actually in a movie together. We didn't film any scenes together, but we were in a movie together. So welcome, Jerry, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm great. Things have been fantastic. We're actually in 2 movies together.
We are in 2. We found out, and it's Jerry with the G. So we're going to correct that when they get a chance. Thank you. So you are a Massapequa boy. You grew up here, went to Massapequa High.
Yep.
And,
Class of 83.
you stayed on Long Island. You're still in Long Island. But when you were in high school, what I want to know is, what kind of kid were you? Because obviously you're in the arts and entertainment now, but were you involved in any productions in school, or were you more into sports? And were you outgoing? Were you introverted?
I was all of the above.
Really?
Yes.
A little of everything.
A little bit of everything. I got into some stuff, but then I didn't go full throttle. And the same thing with sports. Like I played Little League 1 year. I played soccer. I got into things, but something always held me back.
Okay.
And then I got into theater, I started to work for the Zaybacks. I don't know if you remember them. They had the Broad Hollow Theater.
Yes, yes.
And I started to do more and more of that.
Right.
And then when I was out of school and I was
Yeah.
working in the real estate field, I decided to go to the American Academy of Dramatic
Right.
Arts.
Yeah. You
And
actually you went to school there. You also made a pit stop you studied architecture.
wow, you really did your homework. You had like 20 minutes to do this. What else you find out over there?
Listen, you actually studied architecture at State University of New York at Farmingdale.
Yes.
Which is, my sister wanted to do that too, and I think she went to, where'd she go? She went for a short stint also, and then she really didn't, and then she just wanted to become something else like electrical engineer or something. But do you have a gift of drawing and numbers? Or
my dad was a commercial artist.
Oh, he was.
And I always drew, and I was always creative, and my mother always said, you got to make money. So go into architecture.
Yeah.
I really didn't want. Looking through that land surveyor and stuff. This just wasn't.
Your heart wasn't in it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and they say if you do what you love, you don't feel like you're ever working.
Right.
And that's what you decided to do. So you did, like you said, you studied at the theater at American Academy of Dramatic Arts,
Mm-hmm.
And then you also worked for the Suffolk County government. Can we talk about that, or is that like on the down low?
If we talk about it too much, I'm gonna have to.
Oh, all right, okay.
No,
Because my daughter works for Suffolk County. She's out there she's a court officer.
Okay, I work in fraud investigation.
All right. Okay.
29 years.
Wow, you must have seen a lot of stuff.
Yes, I have.
You probably can write a book or a movie, or I'm sure of your stuff. I was going to say some of it has probably influenced.
There's a whole screenplay on it. It's actually called The Land of Opportunity.
Really?
And I'm going to turn it into a novel.
Oh, that's exciting. That's really great. Okay, so you acted in local theater.
Yeah, I acted.
And you're a singer. You have a band, and you sing, and you sang at local churches and schools. And
I sing everywhere. I mean, I sing the Village of Lindenhurst. I do a lot of their parades and their different things, but I've been singing my whole life.
So you were singing before you were acting. What came first, chicken or the egg? What came first?
It's funny because everybody asks me, like, which do you like better?
Well, that's hard to choose. That's like who's your favorite kid? How do you do that?
And I don't really know which came first. I mean, I was acting.
Well, how did you know when you could sing? Like how young?
Very young. I used to entertain my mother and father.
Yeah,
and I'd come down singing and joking and like so many entertainers. That's where it begins.
Yeah.
But again, it was encouraged but discouraged. It was great. Do this. It's fun.
Yeah.
But you can't make a living at it.
Of course not.
And that's just not true.
No, it's not. It's not. If you work hard and you don't give up and you keep on being persistent, eventually something has to pay off.
Yep.
Now you play guitar. I have a couple of pictures of you playing guitar, and you have a band. There you are.
There I am.
That's
okay.
That's an old pic.
That's an old pic.
But I pulled what I liked. There's another one. I like the next one too. No, that's not it. Yeah, well, that's you as Elvis, because you do Elvis too.
I've been doing Elvis for many, many years.
Really?
Yes. And it's funny because when I decided to go more creative, because I was doing Elvis for a long time.
Because you do covers and originals. You do both, right?
And I dropped the Elvis thing a few years back.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not putting on the suit.
You're
I'm
done.
not going to be somebody else.
You retired.
When COVID
Oh,
came
yeah.
and we were all sitting home, I did an online concert.
Oh, really?
And I put the suit on, and people were calling me going, I thought you said you'd never put this thing on again.
Oh.
And so many people tuned in, and then I started getting calls again. But more importantly than that, in that picture was Dan Dahl, who was the guitarist who joined my band in 2019. And when he came, he was just going to fill in, and he started picking out some Elvis tunes.
Right.
And I was like, well, what is that? Like, that's amazing.
Right.
And he's a big Elvis fan.
Really?
So we, in addition to the band, we also do full Elvis concerts. And it's different than just doing the shows with tracks.
Oh,
we put
big
on,
time.
I mean, I have the best musicians around me.
Yeah.
And we put on these amazing shows. So now
you play guitar.
I play rhythm. I'm a little bit like Elvis. I play to a degree.
Right.
But I let the guys around me, cover that aspect of it. I mean, I always say, like, sometimes really, really great musicians, they play their instrument extremely well, but they don't write as much. I find that not being as great with the guitar frees me up to use it as a creative tool.
Right.
Like I can pick up the guitar and just start strumming something and sing my feelings, sing my thoughts, and not be burdened by having
Right.
to play it so
Right.
perfectly.
Right.
And then I hand it over to the band and say, let's do something with this.
So how many original songs have you written?
Uh, Hundreds.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if
Well, you had a CD.
yes.
You had a CD.
Wow.
You make me laugh. You had a CD you wrote and produced called "Just Like Me,"
That's right.
and you actually also did a soundtrack to the
Bridge the
Bridge
Gap.
the Gap. But tell me about the CD you wrote. Tell me about "Just Like Me."
You know, it was when I was going through my divorce is really when
Oh,
I
been there,
started.
done that.
Right?
Yeah.
Most of us have.
Yes.
And I wrote, I would sit down and write every day. It's very therapeutic.
Yes, it's like therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually sat about 20 feet away from my soon to be ex wife
Okay.
and wrote a song on that CD called Don't Touch My Guitar.
Okay.
And it's basically.
Did she always touch your guitar?
No, but it was like, we're going to get divorced. You could take everything.
But don't touch
Don't
my
touch
guitar.
my guitar.
I
You
got
could
it.
take it all.
I got it right.
And when, I mean, that song is on the CD. We're going to be doing it with the band soon.
That's great.
And, but, you know, it was written from.
Yeah.
You find the humor in the pain.
Yes.
And
Yes.
when I used to write as a young man, I was like, I always thought I had to create something from like magic. I didn't write from within.
Right. What you
And
know. Right. They say write what you
it's-
know.
Exactly. It's so true. And you know, Bridge the Gap is a film that I wrote in 2000. I wrote it in 2010.
Yep.
And that's where the Mutant Kings came from. The Mutant Kings is the band.
Right.
And it's a really cool story that I'm going to be turning into a film. In fact, I'm talking to some
That's
people now after all
awesome.
this time.
So cool.
But in 2000 and I guess it was 2018, I decided to turn it into a play.
Right.
And I went to see my good friend Debbie and Ted, who run the South Shore Theater
Yes.
in Lindenhurst. And I
Yes.
said, listen, I'm thinking of turning this thing into a play.
Right.
Are you interested? And they said, sure. And it's essentially the story of four guys who were teenagers in the 70s. They had a
Right.
band. They were called the Kings.
Okay.
And they break up, like most things. You know, the garage band that never goes anywhere.
Yep.
But they were close, and they didn't realize it.
Right.
And the lead singer goes off, becomes a lawyer, and they're done with him. The other three guys stay in the neighborhood. They have their jobs and careers, but they have a small band that plays in clubs.
Right.
It now fast forward to when they're 60.
Okay.
And they reconnect because they go to the guy's funeral, the father of the guy who left the band.
Right.
Long story short, they reconnect with him. They start playing for fun. They finally convince him to come and play.
Yeah.
And they finish a song that they actually had the music to when they were teenagers, but never had the lyrics.
Okay.
So this guy writes the lyrics about his childhood sweetheart.
Uh-huh.
The twist of it comes, they get into a fight right after they play this song because they start pointing fingers like, why did we not do this? They get into a fight in the same garage, and now they're not talking to each
Wow.
other
So it's
again.
almost like deja vu.
Exactly like that. But the kids, the two guys who lived there, they secretly recorded the song. The kids of these old guys,
Okay.
and they put the song on the internet.
Ah.
But they know nobody's going to listen to these old guys, so they say, let's change them, and they mutate their images into these like psychedelic Picasso images.
That's funny.
And they rename the band the Mutant Kings.
Okay.
Put it out on the internet like it's for 20-year-olds.
Right.
And the song becomes a big hit.
Wow.
The guys don't even know they have this song out there because they're not talking to each other. So that's the premise of the story.
Wow. That's so cool.
When we put
I
the
love
play
it.
on,
I love it.
Everybody was like, where can we see this band? Because I wrote
Wow.
9 songs for the play.
Yeah.
And it was a big hit in Lindenhurst. And then we put it on in Babylon.
And what year was this? How far
2019.
back
We put it on there, and then we put it in James Street Theater.
Right.
And then COVID hit.
COVID messed
Changed
everything
everything.
up. Listen, we were supposed to do Bat Boy Yankee Miracle at an off-Broadway theater in the city.
Right.
And COVID hit.
Yep.
COVID hit.
Changed everything. But
big time.
The Mutant Kings had their first show in September of 2019.
Okay.
And it's grown and it's grown. And now we have like 40 gigs this summer.
Oh,
Like,
that's
we're playing
awesome.
all over the place.
That's great.
Nassau, Suffolk, Coney
That's
Island.
well. Where can people know where you're playing? Where can they?
Actually, if you check our Facebook page, we have the Mutant Kings on Facebook. But by the end of this week, we'll have our website up, themutantKings.com.
Awesome. Oh, I can't wait to hear you and see you play.
You gotta
It's
come out and see
exciting.
it,
I
too.
have to. You kidding?
We have so much
I
fun.
love live
It's-
music.
Yeah, we have so much fun playing. It's
It's
a fun
awesome.
band.
Oh,
We do what we call like, because Bridge the Gap, it's like bringing old friends together,
Right.
and that's the concept. Is we play music from all eras, 50s, 60s, 70s,
Which is nice.
into today, some country,
Yeah.
and the
It's a nice
concept
blend.
is bringing people together. Why is music era driven?
Yeah.
I love big band
Yeah.
music.
Oh, so do
I
I.
love modern music. I love
Yeah.
country. I love
Yeah.
like music is music.
Yeah.
And that was, I actually conceived the story
Uh-huh.
in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. That's where the
Really?
seed of it was planted.
Wow.
And it was many years
And then
later
you see
that
it happen. Isn't it amazing? It's like,
It-
it's like a baby that you birthed and like here it is
Right.
and now it's happening.
that's the amazing thing
That's
in
the
life.
ultimate feeling.
Yes. And I tell people all the time, I mean, my life-changing thing was 10 years ago. I had cancer.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry to hear that. You're okay.
I'm great.
Thank God.
But it does
It changes you.
changes
It does
and
change
it wakes you up.
It does, and people know, and I've talked about it before. I had a brain tumor 8 years ago, and
Oh,
I had
wow.
to have brain surgery, and it totally changes you and your perspective on life.
Yes.
It does.
You're good. Everything.
I'm good, thank God. Knock on something. Knock
Right,
on
right.
something. It does. But you know what? We have to take my first break.
Okay.
So listen to me. There's so much more to talk about with Jerry. Don't go away. We'll be back right after this.
Well, hi there, Theresa. It's John York from General Hospital. I am just checking in because apparently you have a great talk show called Tea Time on Strong Island TV. I want you to have continued great success and have a lot of fun. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and that's pretty much the key to everything, isn't it? So continued success. I'm proud of you. Have a great day, Theresa. Bye.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight. It's a nice surprise. One guest had to cancel, and this wonderful guest sitting to the left of me is an amazing man. We've been communicating a little bit through Facebook Messenger, and then we actually met at a premiere for a movie that we were in. He's an actor, producer, writer, director, singer. He does it all. Jerry Ferretti is here.
Everybody.
And I want to thank some people who are watching. Of course, Michael Norton's watching in Florida. Thank you, my love. Valentina and Anne and Susan, Chris, Bruno. Thank you so much for tuning in, supporting me. I'm here every Monday night at 8 o'clock live on YouTube and Facebook. And then it goes to Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch TV, everywhere podcasts can be heard. And we're going to be on TV Saturday at 11 a.m. on Channel 20 if you live on Long Island and get Optimum. So, we're talking about Jerry being originally from Massapequa and how he, always loved music, played guitar, and you wrote these amazing songs. And you also, and I have here, and we talked about your CD, but you actually started your own murder mystery show, which I performed on Friday in Queens. Ours is the longest running in Manhattan. It's been running in Manhattan 30 years, and we've been trying to move it around a little bit, but you actually wrote it, you produced it, and you did it for about 10 years.
Yep. Wow. Like I said, you really did your homework. When I got out of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, I auditioned for a guy who was doing murder mysteries.
Right.
And I did it with him for like a year.
Right.
And then, he moved on to other things. He was like dabbling.
And you wanted to keep it going.
I said, yeah, I want to do this. So I wrote my own. and I ended up writing 3 of them. I was married at the time, and
Yeah.
we did it together. And
Okay.
I mean, it was loads of fun. We performed
Isn't it?
everywhere.
It's so much fun.
Yes.
Dancing, singing,
Yep.
just drinking, eating. It's just so much. It's a ball.
And it was a way to create your own work.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not one of these people who loves to audition. I like to create.
Right.
So
Right.
as an actor, it's appealing to be an actor, but to be that actor who's grinding it out, trying to get work,
Right.
I'd rather make. So that's when I did the murder mysteries. It was like great because you could create your own work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that mentality stuck with me. I loved writing my own music. I loved, writing screenplays. Recently I wrote a novel,
Wow.
which was something I didn't think I could do, but I knew
Really?
I could.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Again, the same. You
Yeah.
just got to force yourself. I had
Right.
made my film The Mark, and I decided to, write it as a novel, and now I'm
Right.
seeking publishing for that.
Yes.
But yeah,
Well,
I
the mark is something that you did back in 2018, which won an award.
well, yeah, in Los Angeles.
Yes, in LA, it won an award,
Yeah.
and you wrote it, you produced it, you starred in it.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
did not submit it to too many festivals.
Yeah.
Ironically enough,
You run a festival right now. Hello, what a
Yes.
segue. Because not for nothing, but it costs money to submit to festivals, and some
Yes.
people submit to 2 or 3. Some people submit to 100. It really depends on how much you want to invest or how much you want to get
Right.
involved. But yes, he runs his own festival now.
the New York Long Island Film Festival, out of
Yes.
Lindenhurst, year 5.
And you could go to www.nyliff.com for more information on that. And that is in Seaford.
No, it started in
It started in
Seaford.
Seaford, but now it's in Lindenhurst.
Yes,
So you moved.
We started it in Seaford in 2019, the very
Correct.
first year that we did it.
Yes.
Again, then COVID hit, shut down the movie theater.
Yep.
And when that happened, all the film festivals shut down.
Yes.
And we were heading into our second year of the festival.
Right.
If you know me now, I'm a determined person.
Yes.
So I said, well, we're not going to shut this festival down. We're not
Right.
going to go virtual. We're not going to go online.
Okay.
The purpose of a film festival is to network.
Correct.
Live,
Correct.
show your film,
Correct.
get audience response,
Yes.
meet other filmmakers.
Right.
It's not a place to just submit and get an award or a laurel. And that's what's started to happen. There are thousands and thousands of festivals.
Mm-hmm.
And
so how do you know which ones are legit and which ones are like fugazi? Like how do you know which ones to submit to?
Look them up. Film Freeway runs the network of film festivals.
Okay.
Look them up. They listed directors.
Right.
Research the directors.
Okay.
Research what the festival has done, what their mission statement is. Try and stay away from ones that have the word awards in the title, because
Okay.
what they're doing is they're promoting the award.
Mm.
And I always say to people, what is it you want when you make a film? You want people to see it. You want to further your career.
Correct.
When there was a handful of festivals, distributors, filmmakers, producers, they'd go to these festivals and they'd seek out new talent. Now there's so many festivals, most of them just become
Diluted.
an award, diluted
Yeah.
down. Yeah. You got laurels, and it's not taking away from the filmmaker because their work is great, but who's actually seeing it that can further your career?
Right.
So I always say focus on the networking. There are right now so many films and productions being made from people that connected through NYLIF. It's the thing we're most proud of.
Right.
That we've connected all of these people.
Right.
And sure, they might have met some other way, but they met at NYLIF, and we view NYLIF as like a family. And again, we're not cliquey.
Right.
The hardest thing is if somebody in that family makes a film that can't get in for whatever reason, whether it's time or maybe it's not up to par.
Right. Right.
That's the hardest part.
Right.
So we take it very, very seriously. Katie Schrader is a good friend of mine, and I had gone to her in 2019, and I said, I'm thinking of starting this festival.
And what did she say to you? What was her reaction?
Well, she kind of just goes along with anything, because we had acted together in so many things.
Right.
And she was in Bridge the Gap.
Okay.
I met her in like 2015. We did Bye Bye Birdie at the James Street
Nice.
Theater. And so we had a track record of
I
a
did
whole
that
bunch of.
in Douglaston.
It was a great
It's
play.
a great show.
Yeah. So she was like, sure, let's do it.
All
And
right.
we had shown the Mark in the Sayville Cinemas, which was part of Seaford Cinemas. So I went to the owner and I said, I'm thinking of doing this. And he's like, let's do it. Like I said, unfortunately, the theater closed. But then, again, nothing happens by accident.
No,
And there's
everything happens
always,
for a reason. We talked about that.
right.
Yeah.
Something bad happens.
But there's something else around the corner.
Right. And it's amazing when you adopt that kind of mentality.
Which you and I have because of that's part of being what we went through
Right.
together. I mean,
Right.
not together, but you know what I mean. What you went through and what I went through, that is part of the new way of thinking.
Right. And
Yeah.
we, for instance, we were filming on the Fontanas, not to segue again,
Yes.
but we were
We're
filming
gonna
one
talk about
day
that.
on the Fontanas.
Yes.
And we were supposed to shoot the next day in a restaurant in Franklin Square.
Okay.
Halfway through the day on a Thursday, we get a phone call. The Franklin Square place cancels on us. We can't film there.
Okay.
And everybody's like, my God, what are we going to do? And I'm like, we're going to
Right.
continue filming right now
Right.
because something better is going to come along.
Amen.
And one of the people on cast, Angela Parker,
Yeah.
she made a couple of phone calls.
Right.
There's a restaurant right down the road from where we were filming.
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, we'd love to do this. I go down,
great.
I see the place.
Yeah.
It was the perfect.
Like better than what you originally
hands
envisioned.
down.
See?
And we filmed the next day. And these people, it's a place called La Spezia
Okay.
in Seacliff.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Great food. If you ever,
Uh-huh.
they opened their doors to us.
Nice.
They were just like, we're not letting anybody in. You have the whole day.
Wow.
And it was just like, again, the old me
Would
10,
be freaking
15
out,
years ago
right?
would have freaked out
Yeah.
and we got everybody
But
arranged.
that's like, look, quite honestly, when Peter canceled on me today, because my new motto is let go and let God, because
Right.
I cannot stress over things I have no control over. And I said, if it's meant to be that I have a guest tonight, he will give me one. And
Right.
there you are. There you are.
Yep. And my plans got canceled for tonight.
But that's what I'm
So
saying. That's what I'm saying. There are no accidents in life.
No.
There just aren't.
Right.
It's incredible. It
Yeah.
really is incredible. And listen, you've done so much. You really have done so much. You also had a YouTube series,
Yes.
okay, called The Nobodies, and you had like different types of like venues with the nobodies. Like one was a parody with comedians in cars getting coffee, and then another one was talking politics, and another one was talking baseball and movies and stuff like that. So how long did you do that, and how much fun was that? Because that sounds hysterical.
When I wanted to film The Mark,
Yeah.
which was my original film,
Yeah.
I was like, well, I really wasn't that familiar with cameras and whatnot. So I said, I want to film something.
Right.
So I always looked at the Seinfeld show, comedians in cars getting
Yes.
coffee.
Yes.
And it struck me funny. He'd have all these guests on. They'd go and get coffee. I'm like, well, this is a little pretentious.
Right,
Like, what
right.
about the rest of us that have to work for a living?
Yeah.
And, we don't do that. But you ever get in the car with your best friend and you're like cracking up and everything? I'm
Yeah.
like, we're just as funny as these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So I called a friend of mine. I said, I'm thinking of filming this thing. I want to do, nobody's in cars
Mhm.
running errands
Right.
because we have to do stuff.
Right.
So I called my friend Evan and he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we did this show and it was funny. And then I called another friend and another friend. We ended up doing 7 episodes.
Wow.
And it again, COVID, because we would go into stores filming, like we'd walk through Michael's, we'd walk through Home Depot,
Right.
and everybody would welcome it. COVID kind of stopped that because people were saying,
Yeah.
you got to do more of those. You got to do more of those.
Right.
And at the time that I was doing it, it was the Trump-Hillary election.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a lot of material right
every
there.
oh my God. So everybody was talking politics. My daughter, who was working at Pops at the time as a waitress, she comes home and she's like, Dad, I thought nobody's supposed to talk politics. She goes, yeah, nobody's talking
Yeah,
politics.
politics and religion.
And when she said that phrase,
Right.
yeah, nobody's talking
There you
politics,
go.
I was like, nobody's
Light bulb
talking
moment.
politics. I'm
Mm,
going to do a segue. And it was funny because we did a talk show
right.
where because one of the guys I did Nobody's in Cars with was diametrically opposed to me politically. And yet we sat
Okay.
in the car
Right.
and came to
Like
common
two
ground.
adults
Exactly.
having a conversation.
So I said, I want to do this. I want to bring people from all different, I have like 4 guests, a progressive, a liberal, a conservative,
Right.
and let's have an intelligent conversation.
Right.
And
Without killing each other.
It was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
but people started telling me, you need more fighting. You need more arguing.
They wanted more drama.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's the world we live in.
Isn't it crazy?
But I wasn't married to the concept.
I get
it. It was just, so I did Nobody's Talking Baseball, which I still do.
Right.
3 buddies that I grew up with,
Right.
Kevin Ferretti, Stephen
Yeah.
Mellis. We talk baseball. We get together like once a
That's
month
great.
and we do this.
That's good.
And again, it just keeps you sharp. It keeps you doing something.
Right.
And it's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. And
Right.
you know what matters? Me taking another break right now. But stay right there because so much more with Jerry Ferretti when we get back. Don't go away.
Wonder Woman was everything to little girls, especially that look like me. She stands for being a voice for people that need a voice. My organization renovates homes for people with disabilities. And when I come home, a self-care routine makes me feel my best. I'm very proud of the difference that we're making, and to see that impact in my community inspires me to work even harder for everyone around me.
How you doing? It's Sal the Voice Valentinetti. Why are you watching me? You should be watching Theresa Canastraci Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. And make sure you follow Theresa on Facebook. Tea Time with Theresa Canastraci Farrell. We'll see you there.
I love the way you say my name. I love
Have your stuff.
Welcome back to Tea Time, people. I am so glad you're here because I'm with Jerry Ferretti. He's an actor, producer, writer, director, singer. The man does it all, and he has fun doing it. And talking about his career right now, and I want to get into the acting a little bit, okay? Because back in 1990, we all start off, most of us, as extras, and you were in Breakfast in Bed.
Oh boy.
As an extra, right?
Marilyn Chambers.
We all start out. We all start out doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Why'd you turn red all of a sudden?
Because I was in a movie with a porn star.
Hey, not everyone could say that, Joey.
That's right. What's on that paper?
Next.
I think that's.
So now you had a gap. You had a gap going on. Okay. Because
Yeah.
the next thing I found was in 2015, you did something called Disco where you played the dad.
Yes, with Fred Carpenter.
Yes. And you and I have worked with Fred in the past.
Right.
Actually, you were in, and so was I, in I don't want to skip. 2018 was The Mark. You played
Right.
David. That was in the local theaters. You wrote, produced, directed it, and starred in it. But then after that, 2019, you and I were in Interview with a Hitman.
Yep.
We had no scenes together. We didn't know each other back then, but both for Fred Carpenter.
Yep.
And Sweet Man.
And I just want to go back to one thing because
Sure.
my inspiration.
Yes.
I don't like the word idol, but
that's what I
from-
want to talk about because you mentioned Fred before, and I was like,
well,
it
no,
for
I'm
the
talking
show.
about more than that. I'm talking about
Okay.
Stallone.
Oh,
Like I'm
okay.
very
Sly?
influenced by
Really?
Sly.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were both in porn movies early in
Well,
our
he
career.
did. He was.
He really
was.
did it, and I didn't.
Yeah.
I
There's a Goomba
was,
connection
come
there.
on. So I love Stallone, and he definitely is an influence.
Oh, absolutely.
A strong influence. in
Yeah.
my life.
No. Absolutely.
And,
but there was something you wanted to tell me the connection with Fred before.
well, yeah, because I had written Bridge the Gap, the screenplay, and The Land of Opportunity, and I met Fred at a premiere in Belmore.
Mhm.
I talked to him, and his mother actually was the one who says, "Talk to
Oh.
this guy,"
Oh,
because he
sweet.
was very busy, and
Yeah.
his mother and I hit it off.
Oh.
And so he read my 2 scripts.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I make little independent films.
Yes.
He goes, "You've written stuff here that you need big budgets for."
Yeah.
He says, "Do you ever think of writing something simpler
Mm.
that you could film locally in a house?"
Right,
And I was
right.
like, maybe, if the right thought hits me. But I lock things away. When somebody
Right.
says something, I always take it, for what it's worth. And
Sure.
it was about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months later, I woke up in the middle of the night with the idea for The Mark.
Really.
And it was a story that I realized when I conceived it. And I got up in the middle of the night and I wrote.
Yeah, if something
wrote
comes to you, you have to
3:30
write
in
it
the
down
morning.
because you won't remember when you wake up in the morning.
Right. And I actually called Fred and I told him the concept. And he said, "I want to make this movie." We were going to
Mhm.
make it together. And Fred had a tendency to want to blow off heads and shoot everybody. And
he had a different concept.
right. The Mark is a throwback to the old film noir, love story, love triangle kind of thing.
Right.
And he was gung ho on making this. It was one of the toughest decisions of my life because
Wow.
he wanted me to play the main character, and Armand Desante was going to be in it, and he was really pushing this,
Right.
and it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm going to make this myself because I want to stay true to what the story is.
And that's what happens when you give up. What's the word? When you give up creative ideas, and when you give up your own
Right.
thoughts and premises, and someone else takes it over, it could be a totally different
He
vision.
called me for months.
Yeah,
He was like, I want to do this.
Because I had a friend who did that. He
Yep.
gave it to somebody else, and they recast it. They changed the whole thing, and it did not stay true to the original story.
Right.
Yeah.
And the story is the Mark is about a hitman who falls in love with a woman as he's leaving the business. He's done.
Right.
He hasn't had a serious relationship since his fiance was killed when he was 20.
Okay.
And he went into this business, but now he's done.
Right.
He's an older man. He's like, no, not older, but he's in his late 40s.
Yeah.
And he meets this woman. He falls in love. And his last job that he gets, he has to kill the wife. He has to kill the lover of the wife of a politician. So there's a politician running for office. His wife is cheating on him.
Okay.
And he gets this assignment to kill the wife's lover.
Wow.
And when he takes the assignment and he opens up the envelope, the wife is his girlfriend. And the lover is himself.
What? Oh my God.
So he just he's got a contract to hit himself.
Wow.
When I told Fred this, he was like, I'm making this movie. And I made it myself.
Wow.
And it was 2 hours of learning. It was like film school.
Yes.
And it came out much better than it had any right to.
Right.
And we've shown it a whole bunch of times. I've worked on it for years. I finally got it to where
to tweak it the way you really wanted it.
Yes,
the
the original version.
It's it's.
But now it's we've shown it recently, and people go like, "Why isn't this out there?" And I'm like, because it's just not. It's my first little baby,
Right.
And but then I decided, like I said, when I was going to make the sequel, I said, how can I make a sequel to a movie that I don't have the budget for? And I said, I'm going to write it as a novel.
Okay.
The sequel.
Right.
And then I said, how can I write the sequel as a novel if I haven't written the first one? So I went back and I wrote The Mark as a novel.
Really?
And it's interesting, like they say how the book is always better than the movie.
That's what they say.
I was able to go back and add all those nuances into the story that I wanted. So now anybody knows a publisher, because I'm not doing the self-publishing thing.
Right. No. Let me tell you something. I will connect you with a friend of mine who had 7 or 8 books published, and they're I'll
the old school way.
I'll connect you with him.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So after Interview with the Hitman in 2020, you did the Clam Kid, which was a short.
Yeah, with Jim Morrison out in Greenport, a terrific filmmaker, great guy. I met him through Nylif.
Right.
George through Nylif.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then you did The Essence in 2020. That was a short also.
I made a handful of shorts.
Yeah.
I made Essence.
Yeah, but that's what you do. 2021, you did Sometime Other Than Now.
Right.
And then 2021 started, dun, 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 The Fontanas.
The Fontanas.
And The Fontanas, we have a poster for that one. There it is. The Fontanas. And Valentina's in there, who I know.
Valentina plays my mom.
Catherine Michio, who is a good friend of mine also. I've had her on the show. So this is now a series, correct?
Paul Lodicano, Wendell.
Yes. So this is a series, correct?
Yes.
And what season are you in or filming?
As of July 3rd of this year, we will complete 7 episodes the first season.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, this is going to go.
Cool.
Yeah. It's a project loosely based on my family.
Okay.
It's about 4 brothers.
Right.
From Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of, and I hate doing the it's this meets this kind of thing, but if you took Everybody Loves Raymond,
right, little combination,
Parenthood,
yeah,
and The Sopranos,
2 of my faves,
and
3 of my
mesh them all
faves,
together.
You got the Fontanas.
Yeah, it's a Long Island family, the 4 brothers, their kids, the parents, and what happens when the patriarch of the family passes away, and the family learns a whole bunch of secrets and things. I mean, it's a basic family.
Right,
So
right,
it's
right.
not The Sopranos. It's not a
Right,
family of
right,
mobsters, but
right.
yet they learn
That there was some stuff going on
oh,
that no
yeah.
one knew about.
Yeah.
But that's what happens sometimes
Right.
in real life. You know,
Yep.
sometimes you find out that daddy had some kids somewhere and they show up out of the blue, and
There's
you're
a-
like,
yep.
all right, well, I guess we got to do a DNA test or something like that, And then after that, you did Where's the Will, which was a short, correct?
Where's the Will was Paul Laudicano's film. I
Okay.
produced and directed that with
Right.
him, and he wrote this great story.
Really?
Yeah, it's a nice short. He's won a whole bunch of awards with
Nice.
that.
That's great.
And yep.
Then you did The Bigger Picture.
Bigger Picture, The Casual Crew,
Uh-huh.
and this is another great story.
Uh-huh.
When I did Bridge the Gap, Ryan Lewis was an actor. He must have been, I don't know, Ryan, something like 14.
Yeah, he was little.
He played the young version, because in Bridge the Gap it starts when they're kids,
Right.
and he played one of the young versions of the main guys. And he's gone off to school and become a filmmaker. And I guess in the second year of the film festival, he submitted a little short, made with his friend Dominic and Aaron, and it's like a little, maybe 5-minute short.
Yeah.
And
So that's all it needs to be, people. It can be 5.
Absolutely.
A short. It can be. Does it have a minimum and a maximum?
We have super shorts, and then we have shorts. So there's micro shorts.
So like, what's like the longest a short can be?
Usually 40 minutes. Once it tops over that, it's called a feature.
Okay. All right.
And again, getting back to Nylif.
Yes.
And with the Elvis connection.
Yes.
I always say, when I started this festival, Elvis walked into Sun Studios with a guitar slung on his back and played That's All Right Mama, and it became the biggest recording star the world has ever known. Today, if you walk into a studio, they're going to say, go get a polished demo, go in, get it perfect, sit down in the studio. They almost ignore that raw talent.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's all got to be so produced.
Yes. Yep.
So I said, you know what? I see that a lot with the festivals.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to compete. You're going to enter into Tribeca. You're going to enter in, and they're not going to, every movie has a $200,000 budget or up.
Right, right.
So the guy who makes that really brilliant film or writes this really clever thing is probably not even getting paid attention to.
Yeah.
So I said, I want to start a festival that will always, no matter how big we get, will always pay attention to those films. We'll watch every film.
I was going to say, you personally watch every film yourself?
Yes. And so do the judges involved.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know that that's going to be increasingly more difficult to do.
Yeah.
As we get hundreds and hundreds of films each year.
Right.
But
and this
I
is
want to
be
maintain that
this
commitment.
is in October, correct? Is it October?
October, yes.
Okay.
October 19th
And now, and
through the
when do people
22nd.
have to submit in order for?
Up until August 31st. We're taking submissions through August 31st.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yep. At nylif.com. You can go to Film Freeway.
August 31st. Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's cool. And okay, so after that, you did The Bigger Picture.
Again, getting back to those kids, so they now they form their own production company,
Correct.
The Casual Crew.
Yeah.
And when I started the Fontanas, now they made a film called The Bigger Picture,
Right.
and now they're making another film this year.
Good for them.
And I'm actually acting in their film,
Oh,
which
nice.
is, again, it's all
Wow, that comes full circle.
Comes full circle.
Wow.
And they're like my sons. They come by the house. We end up, and I know when they're coming over, it's at 3:00 in the morning, even if I have to go to work the next day, because we just start talking shop.
Wow.
And, so I just love that. I love that whole connection. But they're doing great work.
That's awesome.
And they did the first 3.5 episodes of the Fontanas, but they didn't realize that we were going to make this whole series. They're always going to make a couple of episodes, but once the wheels start going and I start writing and writing and writing, I'm like, this is going to be 7 episodes.
Right.
And they were busy with school and plus, they're 20 years old. They got girlfriends and wives.
Yeah, of course.
And
Hello, 3:00 for them is usually a booty call. Hello.
Right. So, and I mean, I don't think they were prepared, because I'm like a machine.
Right.
Once I get going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we'll get somebody else. Like the crew
Yeah.
is interchangeable in a
Right,
lot of ways
right,
because
right.
everybody does such great work. We have people in the cast that have stepped up and they've learned,
Yes.
how to do sound,
Mm-hmm.
how to do. So
Mhm.
it's like it's a wonderful
Yeah.
team of
And it's
people.
nice to get your hands on everything and learn it.
Yeah, and everybody's committed, and that's one of the things I love about my crew.
Yeah.
And the cast is everybody's so committed and helps each other.
Yeah. That's important.
Like I always say, there's so many people connected here, and 1 or 2 or 10 of us
Yeah.
are going to go somewhere.
Right.
And some people may not.
Right.
Let's always be happy for the ones who do.
Absolutely.
Because your time may just be around the corner.
Absolutely. We have
So-
no control. Like I said, we have no control.
Right.
They say you make plans and God laughs. So
Exactly.
And then 2022, and this brings us to the premiere that we were at together. It's Love Bro,
Yep.
and that's George Massimillo's baby. And we, like I said, we were corresponding via Facebook Messenger for a while because mutual friends, and I was sending you, I think, I don't know, pictures of me in different wigs and my characters that I do and videos and whatever. And because I wanted to be part of what you were doing. I was excited about it. And then we met at the premiere. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Is it?
Yeah, I think that's like the first time we physically met.
Yeah, we physically met.
crazy.
We physically met there, and I walked up to you because you know how shy I am.
Right.
And I said, "Hey, and I told you who I am." And you're wearing the coolest shirt, though. It was the coolest shirt I've ever seen.
I had just come from a gig.
I know, it was great. It was very tropical looking, and it was really cool. But that's where we met. I was at the premiere, and I was so blessed because I had my mom with me, and it was the first time she actually ever saw me on screen. And I'm glad that my name was in the credits this time.
Right? Not
And, inside joke. And for her to turn to me and say, "It was funny, you were great, and I think the movie was really good." That's all I needed to hear.
Right.
And I play Bob is the main character, and I play Bob's mom. And Frank Fiella, who normally plays my husband in things that we do, just the way it works out, played my husband. Unfortunately, he wasn't at the premiere, but you played Bob's coworker,
Right.
and you had some funny scenes.
And I really wasn't prepared
I
for
laughed
it.
at all of them. They were great because every time you popped your head up into the cubicle, I'm like, "What's this man going to say now?"
I like I said, I wasn't prepared for it. I'm sitting there expecting I'm going to watch this movie and see everybody else. And every time I popped up, everybody was cracking up.
But everyone
was
laughed.
like,
But you know what
wow.
happened was we filmed in my house. We
Okay.
filmed in my living room, my dining room, my kitchen, and my den. George said to me, "I need a house." I said, "Come on over. I don't have a problem with helping out with casting and/or locations. I've done it before in the past." We had so much fun that I said to my mother, I said, "I know my scenes are going to be funny because Frank and I were cracking each other up." I said,
Yeah,
"But I
he's
don't know
funny
how
guy.
the rest of the movie is going to be." I just didn't. I said to her, "It could be really funny. It could suck. I don't know how it's going to be." But I have to say, it's a
great.
really, really good movie. And I know George said he wants to put it in festivals. I don't know where it's going to end up, where
Right.
people mainstream can see it. We don't know yet. But it is
It's
worth
terrific.
seeing.
Yep.
Let me tell you, I'm so proud of it.
I mean, George did an incredible job. The
He
whole crew,
did.
casual
He
crew, did that movie.
He did.
And I had seen an earlier version of it.
Oh, you did?
And George was like, "I need to get some opinion. What the changes he made from that
Right.
to the final showing?"
Yeah.
I was like, "This is just great."
It's really
It
good.
really, really was.
But there was
Very
just one
funny.
thing. There was just one thing that I heard people say, and I approached George about it, but we have to take a break. So if you want to know what that
What's
is,
this?
stay right there. We'll be back.
comedian you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best actress you know?
Theresa Farrow.
And who's the best cast member in Bad Boy?
Teresa Farrow.
Who's got the best radio?
Teresa Farrow.
Stop. Who's your favorite guinea?
Teresa Farrow.
Who are you loving right now?
Teresa Farrow.
All right, Chuck. I love you too, baby.
Love you as always.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. Thank you, Doc, my friend Doc Gooden. He's actually going to be coming into the studio soon. I had him on virtually, and now I'm going to get him on in person. I'm so excited about that. So before the break, little teaser.
Yeah.
Yes, people were saying how Frank and I played the mom and dad, and we had 2 full scenes, and then I had one really quick scene. And they were saying how we really wanted to see the parents one more time towards the end of the film and a reaction to how the film ends. So I told George that, and he goes, I was thinking about doing that. And he told me what he envisioned.
Right.
And I'm like, never too late. And he's like, I think it is. And I'm thinking, no, actually, I think maybe during the credits. I don't know.
George Lucas is still changing
you know
Star
what I'm
Wars.
saying?
So.
You never know. But so shout out to George Massinillo for doing an amazing job. I'm going to send him the show. I did talk to him before the show. And like I said, it's a really good film. It really, really is. And like I said,
he's a great writer.
You were hysterical. You were, like I said, every time you popped up and you said something, and you were great.
See that movie, everybody.
You were great. You really were great. Again, tell people how everyone can find you on Facebook and Insta.
Facebook, you can find the Mutant Kings. That's our band page. Look for the mutantkings.com coming later this week. New York Long Island Film Festival, nyliff.com. Filmfreeway.com/nylif if you'd like to submit your film till
Yes,
August
you have
31st.
till August 31st. Yeah, that's what you said.
Yep.
So how many submissions do you normally get, and do you cut it off at a certain point?
No, I mean, what we do, and again, being committed to it,
Yeah.
if we get 150 films, if we get 250 films,
Right.
what we're doing is
There's
adding
no,
days.
that's it. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Again,
Okay.
the other thing about film
Wow.
festivals, if we get bigger
Yes.
and get more films,
Right.
why should that mean we just have more films eliminated?
No, I get it. Yeah.
It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. So
Right.
people submit, they go, well, you didn't make the cut. Well, no, if you're only doing a day or two of your film festival. So this year we're adding another day. As we get more
Okay.
films, we're going
You
to add another
keep
day.
adding.
We're going to add another venue.
Okay.
So where we're doing it now, we do it at the Moose Lodge in Lindenhurst, but we also show films at the South Shore Theater.
Okay.
As we grow, we're going to show films at those venues simultaneously. We're also talking to
How
another.
do you pick which one to go to?
Well, again, there'll be a schedule, so you can go to this film on that
Right,
day,
right,
but we
right.
may show that film again at the other venue on the
Okay.
weekend.
All right.
And that's the plan.
So
we
that's
want
nice. It gives people more of a choice too, and helps with scheduling.
Right. And Lindenhurst is a big theater community.
Yes,
There's 3
yes.
theaters, there are playhouses
Yes.
that we've
Mhm.
spoken to.
That's where we auditioned for It's Love Bro, right?
Right. So we want to turn Lindenhurst, and we're doing it.
Yeah.
Lindenhurst is going to become just a big film.
We're gonna put it
and-
on the map.
Right. And we filmed most of the Fontanas in Lindenhurst.
Really?
It's a great place to film.
Okay.
It's a great village.
Uh-huh.
And they've embraced it. We
That's
filmed at
good.
restaurants there.
Yeah.
The family pizzeria is Spazzo's restaurant.
Okay.
And great people.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
That's
we
good.
just we're having a ball.
So listen, we have like 3 minutes left. What else do you have that you're working on? You have something in pre? Do you have other things going on?
Yeah, I have a
you
couple
could talk
cool things.
about,
Bridge
or-
the Gap, which has been around for a long time, and I always said I won't make Bridge the Gap on a low independent level.
Right,
so
right,
I'm
right.
talking to a producer right now
Okay.
about taking that to the next level, because that story needs to be told
Yes.
in a big way
Right.
with big name actors.
Yes.
I'm also working on a project that I can't say much about, but it's
Okay.
tied to a real life event
Oh, I love that.
with
I
somebody
love
down in
that.
Florida who's been in touch with our mutual acquaintance,
Yes.
Chaz.
Yes.
And it's a great story. I've been tapped to write this with this individual.
Great.
And I wish
And
I
that's
could
all
say
you could say. That's
more
all
about
he
it,
can say.
but
That's
I
all he
can't.
can say.
And
Okay.
I'm very excited about this.
Right.
And we're going to be pushing that with the Fontanas.
Right.
It's a very small world.
Yeah, it is.
And everybody's connected to everybody. And
Yeah.
like Chaz's bodyguard, Sandy Blue Eyes plays the father in the Fontanas.
Right.
And it's just been a great ride. Everybody connected to everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this new screenplay. I'll say that it's a
That's
screenplay,
good. Yeah.
and it's tied into a real life
Which I like. I
mobster.
like telling those type of stories. I like those a lot.
Yes,
Those true stories.
exactly.
I love them. Those are like my fave, really. Well, listen, we have like a minute left. I told you, how fast did this go? Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had a ball. And also, we've spoken about getting you into the Fontanas, and there is a role
Well,
that I do have you.
I don't know. Someone said that they suggested something to you, and we'll talk after the show about it. But we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see. But I appreciate that. I do. There are no small roles.
That's
right?
true.
This
No.
is true.
And
There
I don't
are.
like casting somebody just
What did you
to
think
get
of
them
me
in.
in the movie?
I thought you were fantastic. I love the part
The
where
mom.
you're on the phone
Oh yeah.
and you're
How
just being quiet.
funny is that?
That cracked me up. That was so funny.
But that's where my comedic part comes in, because
Right.
I've done other roles that are, especially in Bat Boy Yankee Miracle, that are so dramatic and traumatic. When I
Right.
find my son shot dead, it's a totally different character and role. Which Valentina has seen. She has seen more than once, by the way.
But humor's great. Doing the funny stuff.
Well, that's what it is.
is-
I think because I have stand up as a background, my timing and the improv. I do a lot of improv. I just did a pilot and I improv'd a line. They said, Theresa, just say something, and I said something, and they kept it. They kept it,
Right.
and they kept it, and they're using it. And I was like, great. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because you never know.
Right.
You just never know. You just got to go with whatever.
I always say it, like, humor is everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
An Italian
Yeah.
wake.
Oh,
you're
yeah.
standing by the coffin
Yeah.
laughing.
Yeah.
Gotta have the humor in it.
You have
That's
to.
life.
You have to find the. Listen, I am so happy
Yeah,
that you were
this was
able to
great.
do this.
Thank you for having
Okay,
me.
I know it was so last minute, but I want to thank everyone for watching Tea Time, supporting my show, and remember, tell everyone you love them, and I'll see you next week. Ciao, everybody.